Hi Sagittarius, happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate in November, and this is your November 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what may in front of us, the Celtic Girl spread as always, and I also pulled an Oracle card and a Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those Astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get. Okay, so we got Sagittarius. So naturally, as we get toward the end of November, the sun's going to be moving into your sign. Makes perfect sense. We also have Neptune, which is actually in Pisces, which is your fourth house of home, family, motherhood. And we have 5, the fifth house. So that's Aries energy. And the time recording this, we're just about to have that full moon in Aries, actually. So could just be feeling the residual effects of that as we move into November. All right, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started with your main spread. All right, in the main, in the main situation position, we have the Sun, and we have the Six of Swords. So the Sun energy actually is the energy that makes me think of fifth house energy as well. So there could definitely be something that comes up for you guys with that Aries full moon that you might still feel the effects of when we physically move into November. But seeing that with the Six of Swords, I feel like it's saying that in a way you might actually find yourselves wanting to withdraw a little bit. So it could just be as simple as this. Let's say you are a Sagittarius who celebrates your birthday in November, right? And maybe a lot of people come around wishing you happy birthday, and you actually just might prefer a bit more of a quiet, relaxed environment. Could just be because of the fact that we now have Saturn moving direct through Aquarius, which is your third house communication, also Jupiter in there too. So could just be one of those things where you're like, okay, that's cool, but I'm actually, just feeling a bit more quiet and reflective for whatever reason. And I don't necessarily feel like it's in a bad way either, like you're, just feeling depressed or anything. I just feel like you're just in the mood to be a bit more quiet and introspective for the most part. And it could even be one of those things where whatever position you're in, there might be a bit of a demand for you to be in the public eye a little bit more. And this month you just might prefer to be a little bit more quiet and low key. Now, another way this could be playing out too could just be pointing to the fact that before the sun does move into your sign, it's going to be moving to your 12th house. And there's going to be a lot of energy in your 12th house, actually. The sun will be there for the first few weeks. Mars is going to be there all month, and Mercury's going to be there for most of the month too. So it could just be saying that your inner world just might be a bit busy this month, and your outer world, you might feel like, okay, that's just too much for the time being. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the world. So this usually represents a cycle of successful completions, and I feel like for this to come up in the challenger position, it's saying that you're probably close to that point, but that could be part of why you're withdrawing too. You know that there's something that you still need to learn, something you need to get a full grasp of, but you're not quite there yet. So you might just be taking a little bit of time away to figure that out. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Six of Wands, which is Leo energy, and the Nine of Swords, Gemini energy. So this usually is an energy similar to the sun, where I could see this as, usually I point out to people if it comes up around their birthday, it could be as simple as that, right? People just come in wishing you a happy birthday, so you get a lot of attention on you in that regard, but it's not anything major necessarily. But again, with that Nine of Swords, I feel like it's saying that, the attention keeps coming your way, but you guys actually have a lot on your minds right now. So that could be perceived as more of a distraction, whereas normally you might have been excited about that. It seems like at least around this time, you're just a bit more withdrawn at this time. All right, past position, we have the Ace of Swords. So with this in the past position, it could just be saying that some of you might have come to a realization around something, something that maybe you've been comfortable with for a while, no longer seems to serve you, it doesn't really work with you anymore. But it could just be a matter of, okay, you get that epiphany, but now you're still trying to integrate that, right? Like, okay, I have this realization, but now what do I do with it, right? So that could kind of be where you're finding yourselves right now in that little in-between space. In the present position, we have Justice. So this is Libra energy here, represents balance. And maybe that's what you guys are trying to figure out too, right? Like, how do I balance the fact that maybe I do have to be in the public eye in some form for whatever reason, but also wanting that private time, right? So that could be what you're trying to figure out. Because you might feel like, okay, I don't want to completely abandon my position to where I'm in the public eye in some way, but at the same time, I'd like a little bit more privacy, right? So that could be a little bit of a struggle you're going with right now, trying to balance those scales. Libra energy is 11th house energy too, so it could just be saying that you might have a lot of friends, right? It could be as simple as that. A lot of your friends that want your attention, and maybe they move in different groups, so you can't necessarily just tell them all to come together, like, yeah, let's all hang out Thursday, right? You might have one group that wants to hang out Friday and everyone Saturday. Of course, those are more mundane ways the energy could play out, but that's kind of the overall vibe I'm getting there, where I feel like there's a lot of demand for your attention and energy, and you, on the one hand, you might not necessarily want to disappoint, but at the same time, like, you need your inner peace as well, so that could be what you're trying to come to grips with right now. All right, in the near future position, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So this is Virgo energy here, which for you guys is career, social status. And in this case, I feel like for some of you, this could be saying that you might actually want something where you're not as concerned with the stability as much as you are with having the peace and freedom, right? Which sounds very Sagittarian in a way anyway, but the reason I say that, we look at the Six Pentacles. So she has her one hand leaning on the Six Pentacles, which the Six Pentacles represents a lot of stability, right? But then we see there's less pentacles on this side, but there's also the bird there, right? So to me, that represents the freedom. So you could just be going with, okay, I could stick here where there's more stability guaranteed to me, right? Maybe you make a really decent living on the current path, but you might be considering something that gives you more freedom, right? To just, be away from the public eye. And yes, you might take a bit of a hit financially, but you are looking toward the freedom that it would bring to you. And you could be trying to decide if that's the move you want to make. Verbs, you could just be as simple as saying you might need to just take a little bit of time away, right, to get out in nature and reconnect and ground yourselves, but that's what I see there. All right, in the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Devil, Capricorn energy, and the Tower. So pretty dark energies on your side, but we do see the 15 immediately followed by the 16, so we do see the progression there. So looking at the two cards in that regard, I feel like this is saying that you guys are breaking the chains around something. It could be, for example, since Capricorn energy for you guys is your second house, maybe this is saying you've been materialistic up to this point, right? And maybe you've enjoyed that for a while, but for whatever reason now, that might not really sit with you as well. You're like, you know what? Yeah, it's cool to work hard and get all these things, the fancy cars, the clothes, whatever the case may be, but it's just not really vibing with me like that anymore, right? So that could kind of be what you're doing and saying, all right, maybe I need to shift how I'm looking at those things and maybe just break away from that type of cycle. This can be around a romantic connection too, I suppose, right? Where maybe you're seeing the writing on the wall where you're like, okay, I don't know if this connection necessarily fits with me anymore, right? You might start to view it as it's just a karmic connection, and you might feel like you've learned the lessons you needed to learn from it, and possibly wanted to break away from it in that regard. And that could be why we're seeing the Nine of Pentacles in the near future too. So it could go that way as well. But yeah, for a lot of you, I feel like it's more of one of these things where you're looking at your connection to money and possibly shifting how you approach it in a way that gives you more freedom, I feel. All right. In the environment position, we have the Four of Cups, Cancer energy, and the Six of Pentacles, Taurus energy. So this could just be one of those things where you might be looking toward investing so you could get more forms of passive income, right, as opposed to constantly having to work and feel like you're not being valued for the work that you do provide. That's certainly a way I could see this playing out too. Let me see what else comes to mind with this. And for some of you, maybe this is around, maybe you've been working very hard, let's say, too, and you feel like you haven't been valued to this point. And that could be what you're withdrawing for, right? Withdrawing from, I should say, right? Where you're like, okay, yes, there's a lot of demands on me, but I don't feel like I should be the one holding up all this weight, right? So you might feel like you're going to actually come to them and ask them to offer you more for what you're doing, right? And then this could just be saying that you might be turning down their offers until you feel like they do come along with something that you feel is fair. Now, I put that in the context of finances, but you could apply that same logic to a one-to-one relationship too, right? If you feel like you've been the one who's been doing most of the work in the connection, you might want that person to step up and let them know that you're displeased with that, putting your foot down in a way until you do feel like you're being reciprocated in a fair way. the energy is being reciprocated in a fair way, I should say. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So it does look like there is that desire for a fresh start there. I feel like this is saying that you do want to hit the reset button in some way, which I did see with the Devil card and the Tower. Like I said, maybe it's just one of those things where you've been in a high profile position, whatever the case, and now you're just like, okay, I want something that's a bit more in the background where I could have a bit more peace and quiet. So that's what I'm seeing there, and this could just be saying that you're trying to think of the best way to bring that about. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Five of Wands in reverse. So Leo energy here, and to see this come up in reverse, could just be saying, for example, let's say you've been in a hyper-competitive work field, right? So whatever the case is, be anything, commission sales of some kind, even if you're just an entrepreneur, but you're in a field where there's a lot of different companies offering the same type of products or services, right? You could just be like, you know what, I don't even want to be in that rat race right now. I'm just going to pull back a little bit, conserve my energy, and figure out what my next best steps are going to be. So that's kind of what I'm feeling there. But regardless, the seed has come out, and the reverse is the better way for it to come out in the spread. But yeah, I feel like this is saying that you just don't really have any desire to be involved in any conflicts and trying to one-up each other or anything like that. I feel like you're just looking for peace more than anything this month. All right, and at the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Pentacles. So yeah, seeing this too could just be saying that could be what you're coming to the realization around too, right? See how that pentacle is just out of his reach? So it could just be saying that you might realize that it's like a never-ending cycle that you're in, right? Where you're like, okay, yeah, I could keep working harder and harder, and maybe even I do acquire more income, right? But then all that leads to is me finding more things to spend it on, right? So you might feel like you're just under a repetitive cycle that doesn't seem to end, and you might feel like, all right, I need a little break from that, even if not permanent. I feel like at the very least that might be the zone that you guys are in currently. And, I will say we're almost at the end of the South Node moving through your sign, so that could be part of it too, where you're letting go of some things that maybe you've held on to that you are starting to realize might be past their expiration date. So in that regard, it makes sense. All right, and moving on to your Oracle card, we have All That Glitters. There's the artwork, and the number is 16. So same as the Tower card. So yeah, it could just be connecting to your energy there and the realizations you're coming to. All right, let's see what it says. Okay, it says a need to see beyond the superficial, the desire to don a mask or dress something up to disguise its true nature, trying to be something you're not, chasing after every sparkly new thing, being mercurial. The Oracle's message. It's only human to want to adorn oneself in trinkets and paint a pretty picture of oneself. It's natural to want to acquire the trappings of status, or to deny them as a statement of rebellion. But if it sparkles, is it better? Whether it's a fast car, a big house, a title or position, the stamp of authority, or the sparkling of diamonds, these icons let you know something about a person, place, or thing. Or do they? The truth is that people seek to acquire things because of what they will do for them and how they symbolically will elevate them and make them more attractive. This card signals that it's time to see beyond the adornments and probe underneath the surface. Learn to recognize the mask people wear and the motives underlying them. Imagine that all that glitter is gone. Would you still desire the object or person? Yes, that definitely seems to align with the overall energy that I'm feeling there. But like I said, it could just be a cycle that you yourself might have partaken in for a long time and had a lot of success in doing so as well and enjoyed it for a time. But I feel like for whatever reason, that seems to be something that just doesn't really vibe with you in the same way it used to in the past. All right, the relationship message says sometimes we try to become something we're not to impress others. We embellish a story a bit, adding some dramatic elements to make us more appealing. The real person becomes hidden behind the sparkle and shine. Then there are times when we don't see the true value of someone else because he or she may not have the glitz and glamour that seems so desirable. Now is the time to look past the surface, beyond the mask, to the essence of a person. Who that person is, not what he or she has or can give you, is important. See beyond the glitter and look for the inner glow. Use the eyes in your heart. Let go of artifice and let what is authentic shine. So, pretty positive message there too. And I will say that could be one of those things too, where maybe that's a realization you're coming to. Like if you have been relating to someone in a way that you find to be a little bit superficial now, Could just be saying that might have had the same effect on them too, right? Where, okay, they're going along with it as well, but they're not necessarily happy either. And it could just be saying that possibly by you breaking away from that, that could actually restore the balance where, people meet each other on a more authentic level. But yeah, for a lot of you, you could just be leaving a connection line altogether and, just searching for a different one in the future. The prosperity message says sometimes an opportunity looks so good that it glitters like gold and you just can't resist it, especially when it appears others are doing so well and have hit the muffler load. During the American gold rush, everyone hurried west to find their fortune and then deserted entire towns after the mining depleted the gold veins in the earth. So too can you deplete yourself as you chase after the latest shiny thing that has caught your eye. There is a mercurial quality to your present circumstances. Pay no attention to those who chase after fool's gold. Resist the temptation to be jealous of others. What they have achieved may not be the true success you seek, so don't compare yourself to them. You see only the surface right now, only the sparkle. Be assured that you will experience your own shining moment if you stick to what you know. All that glitters may not be gold for you. So pretty positive message there. So yeah, it's interesting because the messages in this card seem to be already what I feel like a lot of you have already come to that realization, possibly with that Ace of Swords energy, and now it's just a matter of you actually integrating that. So hopefully that all resonated with you. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So this is the mudra you got here. It's the Abhaya mudra. The keyword for it is courage. All right, and there's the info on it if you want to pause it to take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says calms the mind, reduces anxiety and inner conflict, removes attachment and aversion to thoughts, emotions, and sensations, serves as a form of protection from negativity. So if that sounds like a mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put it in the description of the video as always. Once again, happy early birthday to those of you who celebrate November, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.